Hello, and welcome to the Tale Weavers. Now, this, as with every previous story, is the behind the screen episode after the campaign. That has been Ravenloft. And today, Tara will be asking questions collected by us and questions from our viewers.
That's
But
right.
before we go there, we can, for the last time, introduce the players and their characters.
Hello. My name is Katrina, and I played Wilhelmina.
Hi, I'm Taya. I played Steve Jones, the good-natured, dumb-witted fighter.
And hi, I'm Daniel. I've been playing Archibald Montgomery Cliff, or just Archie for short.
Or as we came to know him, the Firestarter.
Twisted Firestarter.
Well,
Let's
shall we dive
jump
into this
the
then?
question.
Yeah. Well, the first one we're going to have is going to be for the GM, or Örjan. And why Ravenloft? Why did you choose that particular setting?
Ravenloft was the first campaign setting I bought. I was actually just dropping by the local comic shop called Valhall at that time. A really tiny, cramped store full of comics and Games Workshop miniatures and role-playing games. And they had this campaign setting for sale, and the cover art actually I thought looked really cool, vampires and whole gothic thing and gothic horror. So I bought it on a whim. Of course, I had no idea about what AD&D was at that time, so I had to buy extra books. And Hour of the Knife was the first adventure I bought and tested. So that was my first adventure as a GM as well. So I thought it would be fun to try that again and see if it had kept up with the times.
So that was partly the reason why you chose an old AD&D module then, and not the new campaign setting.
See if that could be translated into 5th edition.
Well, actually, I believe Ravenloft was for the first AD&D I played as well. So I've had a long history with it, both as a player and as a GM. But what about our other twos? I know you have an extensive knowledge of D&D, Daniel, but had you ever played Ravenloft before?
I have played a little bit of Ravenloft. It has been in the 5th edition campaign, The Curse of Strahd. We've gotten, I think, started on that campaign twice. The longest we got was 5 sessions before we had a total party wipe. Mainly because people just kept going against where they were advised, and it's like a lot of danger signs, and even crows like screaming to the players. It's like, don't go here, you will die. They're like, nah, we'll be fine, and then they died.
And you, Katrina, have you ever played Ravenloft before?
No. I have little to no experience with D&D, actually. I think I played it perhaps 13 years ago.
We tried one session with Dragonlance, I think.
Before that, I think I was 14 once. So not really. It's not been my game of choice. I know that's probably setting a church on fire, as I say it, but
No,
it hasn't really appealed to me, to be honest.
I don't think that's. I mean, I think D&D in general is quite divisive in one sense that people either love it or hate it. I think it can be fun, but it's like everything. It's what you make of it. So inherently, I mean, actually, I guess the whole Gothic horror element, Victorian Gothic horror element, was what made me interested in Ravenloft more so than in D&D or AD&D as it was back then in particular. Actually I haven't played a lot of D&D actually, except for a few sessions of 3.5. What's that?
Yeah, we tried 3.5 and actually bought shitloads of books that we never used.
Sounds
Let
like
me tell.
3.5.
One day I shall tell you of the saga of me and Shadowrun. But anyway. Okay, well, let's move on from the system element of it and go more to the setting. Why did you choose London? For starting characters, I mean.
For starting characters, I wanted I wanted the transition to go into Ravenloft to be more dramatic. Also, I thought it would be nice to start in a setting where the players are familiar, especially for Katrina, who had never played Ravenloft before. It's good to start to build the characters in a setting they know, and then rip them apart from that and into this unknown plane of fuck.
And of course, I mean, I would assume the fact that the Hour of Knife is clearly, well, I wouldn't say based on, but inspired by Jack the Ripper. So, sort of
definitely.
the element of, because I, for my part, quite like the play on the familiarity and also the total strangeness and unfamiliarity was a good thing to jump back and forth for the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know what you others to think about that.
It's difficult to say because I don't know the system and I'm not really used to games that's so system heavy as D&D is. So I felt I came a little bit unprepared to the game setting. Maybe I should have been more diligent of understanding what a rogue is, because I felt that was not really well defined in the human, like in our London world. So I was a little bit confused a lot of the time what I was supposed to do in the setting. So it's a little bit difficult for me to answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was also very interesting for me as someone who is like quite the opposite, very familiar with the D&D system and all that, and playing a character that steps into this world and doesn't have any knowledge of it, even though me as the player had so much knowledge on how all of the spells work and how to optimize it and all of that, and just sitting there trying to figure out how would someone discover it or how to push into it and all of that.
Yeah, I think we were kind of polar opposites.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, since we're on the topic of characters, we can also the question of why those characters. I mean, you gave us the basic premise for the characters, and then we got to flesh them out on ourselves. But was there any particular logic or thoughts why you chose a rogue, a sorcerer, and a fighter, and those kind of personality types?
Well, the three character types, because I thought, well, it would be fun to put a sorcerer into the setting, because that is a catalyst for quite a lot of shit.
Yeah.
you need a fighter. That's just how D&D is. And I wanted to bring out a character there that Talia had played before, a character I really enjoyed 10 years ago. We made that character, Steve Jones.
Yeah, probably around that time.
Yeah. I like that character. I wanted to bring him back. Mina, I gave to Katrine mostly because the rogue is based on skill. It's not a lot of magic. It's not a lot of.
That's not necessarily true, though.
No, but at this level, it's not a lot of magic. It can become a lot of magic, but at this in this.
Yeah, because I got a question for the GM.
Yeah.
Fire away.
Yeah, because I did, and I think it's very evident, I struggled a lot with understanding the archetype in the setting.
Yeah.
And you sent me some, and I saw there was an optional line early on where you could be a more magical rogue. And I was a bit curious when you were going to put us in a very magical driven setting. That why wouldn't you give it to all three of us, that we all could kind of get more immersed in the mythical occult of it all, when you had the option but you didn't?
Yeah, that was
it
actually...
made both me and Ty a little bit passive a lot of the times.
I wanted to not bring too much magic from the PCs, because magic in Ravenloft is tricky. It is supposed to be tricky, and it's as you saw with Archie. A lot of things went really shit because of bad, not necessarily bad rolling, but because of unlucky rolling.
But when did it go really shit?
He
got some side effects, but they gave him
Yes.
just more to play on, I think.
Yeah, but he was one side effect away from actually becoming a bad guy in Ravenloft.
Even more interesting.
Yeah, no, but that makes the character actually unplayable. And it happened. I thought that maybe one of these incidents would happen, and I made 3 quite chaotic characters because I wanted to show what happens when characters are a bit bad guys in Ravenloft, to show that. But if everybody were magic casters, then it could easily come out of control. And also it's a lot more rules to dive into.
I mean, Archie single-handedly burned on half the city, so let me just imagine the rest of us going to go
few houses.
But when we're on that line of talking about characters, know that our long-time viewer Heidi has had a few questions for each of us about the characters, and since we're first talking a bit about the rules side of Archie, you had one for you then as a GM. How did Archie look at the end? Did he still have his side effects when he got back to London?
I would think yes. I have a story where this can continue, and that would be circling around Archie as the villain of the story, where he pulls magic from Ravenloft into Earth, and thus creates the Gothic Earth setting of Ravenloft.
Interesting. Well, you also covered the question what would happen if Archie failed another corruption check. We know that he would have been eventually turned into essentially a Dark Lord. I mean,
yeah. These are rules from 2nd edition, 3rd and 4th edition. I think they've dropped the power checks in 5th edition. So there, yes, you can get some powers from Ravenloft, but you don't get all of these dark side effects. One of the side effects from his 4th level side effect is he is in fact a vampire.
Interesting. And you, Daniel, how would you have chosen one as if you'd gone? What would full Archie have looked like if he'd really gone full Archie? We talked about. I mean, would it be like? Would it be even worse than a giant fireball at the end? And would you have even cared if you burnt Stevedore and Mina to crisps?
I have whenever I'm unsure about how a character or what my character would do and stuff like that, and to see if they go completely mad or fall for the temptation of stuff, where I as a player sit there this would be fun, but they're but would the character actually do that? I do a lot of rolling that's just for my sake. So I have sort of just for my own sake kept rolling some like wisdom saves and intelligence checks to see if he could still sort of distinguish, and I've been keeping track of them as well. And he at the end still he wanted his friends to get out, and at the point he didn't care much if he would make it or not, because he was like, this is either going to consume me or I'm going to become something else. So he wanted just to get his friends out before he went, because he was he really enjoyed the power, but was also a little scared of what it would do to him.
Oh, that was interesting. It was exciting to watch. Like, wondering if how it all would would tumble down if it went bad. Well, continue. You talked a bit about the difficulty you had with the setting and with the system and with the character, and I had to wonder a bit because you picked up on that, I guess. What were Mina's traits and ideals? What were her personal ideals and what were her?
It's very difficult to, again, these were pre-constructed characters that we didn't really make her. We had a concept and idea, and Örjan had a concept and idea what he wanted. So I did not make the character, so I can only say for the bits I did. And it's sassy, go get the gold, have fun with the friends. Trying for me was because I know so little about how to play a rogue. It's difficult to say. I'm not the best player. I'm much more comfortable being a storyteller.
Well, that's actually something I
100%.
wanted to touch on. That's what I wanted to ask as well. Just touch a bit on, but please continue. Pick up
Yeah.
that thread.
And so I kind of need a little bit of more guidance. If not, I can become very flat because I don't know what to do. I should probably have read up more about it and then eventually have said or actually asked more of Örjan to say, like, I need this to be a better player in the beginning, and say, like, this is what I need to function better in the setting. Or yeah.
Yeah, because
I don't know if that
like
makes sense.
No, I understand. But like you said, you're more happy. You're more comfortable with being a storyteller.
Oh,
one
100%.
but designing 100%. And having control to a certain
Megalomaniac, narcissist, all that good stuff.
I know you've been. I mean, you like me. You've predominantly been a player in our campaign so far. We both GM'd a little bit. What do you prefer, storyteller or player?
Well, it depends. Now I've had a long period where I've been a player in this setting, and I really love playing Sean. I have an idea I want to put into action in about a year's time. But it is an idea that needs a lot of work. But I really love storytelling. D&D is not a setting, not a rule set I prefer. I think the rules are sometimes too static. I prefer a storytelling system or free leagues system, whereas where the system is more narrative. But if I prefer to be a player or a storyteller, it depends. If I feel I have a good story, I want to tell it. If that is through playing or through storytelling, it really doesn't matter. I enjoy both.
Yeah, and I can see that. I mean, I'm a bit torn between what I like most, and I think it shifts a bit as well. I like Katrina, and like you said, I love to tell a story, and like Katrina, I love being like, if I have an idea, I want to tell it, I want to get it out there. But I also know that I sometimes will struggle with the amount of work that storytelling, if you really want to do it well, entails, because it really does take a lot to create a lot of create a lot of not only ideas but characters and places and to paint vivid scenes. So yeah, so I think I'm more in love with the idea of storytelling than necessarily always having to do the hard work of it, if that makes sense.
And I really wish I had the ability to portray characters, NPCs, the way Katrina does.
Oh, it's a mad skill. It's a mad skill.
It's a mad skills, hands down.
Well, we're gonna time for
It's
the
a bit
last.
hard to do like scary male voices when you're like, I am really evil. I'm like, oh, you're just cute.
The Dark Duke and the Black Duke are still bloody fucking scary, even in a female voice.
Thank fuck for Mind's Eye, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, last the question about character from Heidi. It's for me. It's about Steve Jones. What challenges did you face trying to express ideas or strategies? Well, it's a bit. I mean, it offers a lot of role playing potential, but also a bit limited to play someone that is. I mean, it's hard playing someone that's supposed to be much smarter than you, but it's also a tad problematic to play someone who's a bit less smart than you. I think a lot of times where I clearly saw, like, as a player, saw, okay, that's what's happening. This is what we're going to do. But there's no way Steve would pick up on that at all. So now I got to sit here and force myself to make stupid decisions because it fits the character well. But it's fun. It's a lot to play on. And also another big problem I found was that finding words that sounds similar to what I want to say, but means something completely different. It's not really that also easy. And even worse, once or twice when I found something, it was a bit too close, so my fellow players misunderstood the meaning and thought I used the word correctly, but I didn't. So he looked smarter than it actually was. So that was a bit problematic. It was basically that when it comes to like facing ideas and strategies, finding either dumbing them down or finding a rationale for why he would find out something. And also finding words that, they're similar enough to be believable you could confuse them, but meant something completely different, which turns out is a lot harder to do on the spot.
Actually, that's stupid. Yeah,
no, it wasn't that stupid. It was -1, but it was a little less than average intelligence. It wasn't like... But also I want to play him a bit, not only that this wasn't the smart one, but he was like deep down, a sure scoundrel. Somewhat say he might have fallen with a bit of a bad crowd. I'm looking at my two fellow players, but he was essentially. I wanted to play him essentially as a good-natured, a warm-hearted sort of person. Sort of big physical, capable of violence, but not wanting to resort to it. So sort of, yes, he could be a really good fighter, but limiting his potential to fight with, not being the first one to act. So that was great fun. It was a great fun. And fortunately, it had gone a long time since I played Chris from Vampire when I played him, so that was easier. I find it a bit harder now when we're doing these Vampire interludes to go back to being a scheming, maniacal psychopath.
You just need to read an American Psycho.
Yeah, something like that. Get back in the mindset. Okay, well, let's see. Since we're on... like talking about characters stats like that, maybe we should do the classic one we do with every of these behind the screens, and I talk about favorite scenes. So does the GM want to start? What was his favorite scene?
Favorite scene? Well, actually, I think the favorite scene actually was in the beginning. In the bar, the ass and the donkey. The first time the characters met, or the players met, because I felt it was such an instant chemistry between the players, and I think you set up the other characters really well and gave each other room to play. Yeah. I think that was actually my favorite scene.
Daniel, over to you.
I also really liked the beginning, but I think just like story-wise, one of my favorite scenes was right after we killed the inspector. Like and we're like, the characters thought they had something, and it all came crashing down, and it was a little bit of at the point of, should we all just burn it down or not? And just like, do we say fuck it to the town or not? And it was just sort of like an interesting point, and I really just liked the genuine frustration that was going on as well. And as we were just like, we just don't know what to do, we don't have any clues, and we're fucked.
There is actually one sentence in the module book that says, the players should be really frustrated by now.
yeah, that checks out. Checks out.
Yeah. Would you say that was applicable, Katrina?
Yeah, and I'm such the bad guy here. I think it went too far, if I'm allowed to say that. Because in my personal taste with it, I felt I lost joy because I felt so frustrated.
Yeah.
And then when you're just frustrated, you kind of start to shut down a bit, and you can't really think creatively and think solutions. So what I kind of missed a little bit was someone like, give me a rope, give me something. I'll hang myself on it, but just give me a rope, give me something. Because the frustration level got so high for me personally that I couldn't really see the world. I could only feel frustration.
Yeah.
And that's sad because it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
It's not just supposed to be frustrating 90% of the time, because then you lose motivation.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to get critique to the campaign, not to you, but to the story itself, I think it became very grey and very frustrating.
Yeah.
It lacked a little bit of color and meat for us to play upon. Daniel had it because of his magic. He could fuck with his character. So me and Taya, we kind of just we were sidekicks, and fair enough, we were sidekicks. I wish we were giving something a little bit earlier to play upon for our two characters to help out flesh out the world a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think the sort of the cheerful optimism and the good nature of Stevedore made it a bit easier for me to handle, because he sort of could ignore the frustration, because we're just gonna find another way. It's like
but you're a much better player than me. So.
I took some I'll admit that I stole a little bit. It's a tiny little bit of Stevedore has been stolen from the show The Good Place. From a certain character there, anyone who knows the show will see how that is. So, which makes it a bit easier to deal with that. But do you have any favorite scenes, either for me or for all of us?
For me, I gotta say the beginning, because I think it had so much meat there. I think if we had the chance to bring that into Ravenloft, that would have been awesome for me personally. I can only speak for me. So that scene for me, it set such a kick-ass fun trio of adventures. Yeah. Like we could be like adventurers, kicking ass, stealing shit, robbing some stuff. That would have been fun. It had so much history just in the first setting. I just felt it immediately. Yeah.
For me, I love that feeling as well, but I also loved how I could get to use that when we first got into Ravenloft, when we found the first body, getting to be playing this big strong fighter just bawling like a little child. What happened? That was great fun. Aww. So this totally disarming the character in that sort of way. That was great fun. Sort of taking away his power in that sense. That was a fun experience. And also I thought it was like the scene that stands most clear to me, like vividly. Like when I think back, it's gonna look like a painting or like a photography from the scene. It's when Katrina turns on us in the alley when we're facing the cloak top hat figure and suddenly getting knifed in the kitties. Yeah, that's good fun. And really saw for me that scene. I really see really nighttime, tiny little alley, little gaslight that casts shadows, and me and Daniel standing there, turning, and it's like suddenly Daniel is gone, and I'm like, what? That was fun. But I do wonder how, since you were the only one of us actually got to experience being body snatched in a sense. How was that? How did you react when Ellen told you what had happened to?
No, I thought that was a cool element in the story. I thought it was interesting. And it's always going to be like, how are the other players going to react to when like you're the bad guy for a little bit? So it's a cool thing to do. So I'm going to give the Orion and the setting props for that. I thought that was clever and fun.
Yeah, because it certainly did fuel our paranoia for like more not who goes there, to put it like that. It did fuel that. Well, you talked a bit about you might be able to use this. Maybe do something with the setting again, like doing a Gothic Earth version of it. But if anyone could, was there anything you want to play again? Would we want to play it again? Play more? Would we like to explore these characters and a Gothic, a horror Earth in a more familiar sense? Is that something we would like to try? It's a little potential plan.
Are you asking sequentially or just throwing it out?
Well, we can start with you since you took the word first.
Me? I'm gonna have to say no. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
I'm sorry. It's just an honest self-realization that I think I am 99.9% storyteller. And I don't necessarily think I make a campaign better as a player. So for me, gracefully, no.
Daniel?
Well, if it should continue, I don't think I could play Archibald.
Well, clearly you'll be the villain.
Yeah, then. I mean, I am as well as Katrina. I am mostly like storyteller, GM. So, of course, from that perspective, I've loved playing a villain. Of course, I love villains. They're the best. They're great, and especially with someone. I mean, I could have some really fun making that into like a villain with finding out what drives him and all of that. But as a character, I don't think I could play him. Like continue playing him.
No, I think he has become unplayable.
Yeah.
Went too far too soon. But then again,
might have been twice as bright.
Yes, but those roles
statistically unlikely.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to play Steve Jones again. It's not that, but well, who knows? But would you like to GM anything else? Anything different system in this?
I have a werewolf idea, but
and that's Werewolf Wall of Darkness.
Yeah, that's
right?
Wall of Darkness. If I want to DM D&D again, more for fun, short ones. Campaign, no. It's the rules don't settle with me that much. Then again, could always bring the World of Darkness rule sets into the setting. That could be interesting, but I will see. You never know what happens.
But then again, for that matter, if just throwing it out there, I do believe that at least, was it 2nd edition World of Darkness or 3rd edition World of Darkness did have a Victorian age, dark Victorian age setting.
Yeah.
Set in the 1890s. So that I think was for vampire predominantly, if I'm not 100% wrong.
Well, yeah, vampire.
Well, that's a question of Orion being here, but another important question, will Daniel be back?
Well, he's been pitching that he wants to do a Christmas special.
Yeah,
he has. I'm game. I think that would be fun.
I'm currently working. They're almost done, and because I love doing like seasonal things, and I always do that with just with at least my friends and stuff, the others that I play D&D with. So I would love to bring one of them here. Currently, I have two because I couldn't decide if I wanted to save Christmas or destroy Christmas. So one of them would basically be elves that are out to save Santa from what's the anti-Santa called again?
You have the Grinch or you have Krampus?
Krampus.
The Krampus, yeah, Krampus. I've made a pretty mean like D&D Krampus kind of thing with a horrible stat block that's absolutely unfair. And
what kind of elves? Like high elves? What are we talking about? Are we talking dark elves?
Oh no, that's
what elves?
Garden lawn ornaments.
Only one way to find out.
Gnomes.
And the other one is
Proper
basically
gnomes.
where you play goblins sent from Krampus to assassinate Santa.
If I'm not mistaken, I think we once upon a time was it in middle of or what? I don't remember quite the setting, but we played one session. It was from the bad guy's point of view.
Yeah, we had the now my head stopped working. Halloween special episode where you played goblins being assailed by your characters.
Yeah, essentially, our characters. We played a poor little cannon fodder goblins.
Yeah, and as someone who has been a GM in 5th edition for quite a long time now, I make a lot of sort of my own. Some rules I change a little bit and all that, but in settings like these, when there's like a one-shot, I usually just make one crazy mechanic that's just like meant for this one thing, just turn it up to 11. So yeah, I'm making a whole system around Christmas cheer and how much each character has left of it. And the powers that comes with Christmas cheer.
Nice. Well, I'm intrigued, and we can have a long discussion of what constitutes a Christmas role-playing session.
Oh, that's fascinating. I'm into it.
Would be fun.
Yes. And, so there might not be more Ravenloft, it seems. Time will tell. But, of course, we have the interludes of little tidbits of Vampire that we have having periodically now before Season 3 starts. There might be a Christmas special with Daniel at Reigns. And, is there anything else we as a team would like to play and try out? I mean, I do know we have played around with letting Katrina storytell or game mother Alien. I'm sure Marianne also would love to be in on that. So
yeah,
I'm biting at the bit. Just give me Alien. Give it now.
I just need to survive the pre-Christmas party season hell. Bonanza. That is the restaurant business.
Yep.
Then,
and I know for my part that next year there might be a role-playing game I would like to storytell. Not a free league publication that's coming.
Yeah.
So there might be some Blade Runner action in 2022. I think, hopefully, it looks intriguing. And if they manage to do that as well as they have done Alien,
I believe it will be excellent.
Game mechanics are amazing.
Yeah, yep. And the fact that for Alien they have the guy that wrote the World Bible for the films and TV series, writing the main rule book, and now I know that they have written the new Bible for Blade Runner. So what they have in mind, I have no idea, but I know I will love it.
Yeah, I would just like to say I've had an absolute blast playing with you guys. It's been awesome.
It's been great fun having you.
We love Daniel.
Yeah, so if you ever need just a side character suddenly showing up and fucking with everybody else for a mission or two in anything else, you have my number.
We do. And it will definitely.
So we know what the Dark Duke looked like.
Hello there.
Hello.
No, it's been great fun playing.
So evil.
I bring
The dark duke, not the dark duck.
Ah. No, it turns out it was a type all along.
Well, it's been great fun playing with Daniel. It really has, and I think, I mean,
Love him.
for all what we had, I think we felt we three had a great chemistry as
fabulous.
players for this campaign. That was great fun.
Running. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I like.
So much fun.
I mean, probably why a lot of the time was spent just the spitballing between the three of us. So, well, I don't know. Is there anything else anyone else want to talk about, or any questions anyone else have for Örjan or anyone else for the Ravenloft adventure, or do we think we're approaching?
I think we covered it. I think we're there. I think we're at the finish line.
Yeah.
Well, I'll hand the reins back to you then, Örjan.
Yes, and with that, it's the time where we mention the bells, the likes, the comments, the sharing, the caring, the hugging, and the loving. Not necessarily in that order.
And the subreddit.
Yes, also the subreddit is a good
Just to
place
take away from all love and hugs, just
Yeah.
mention Reddit.
Yeah. It's a place
And,
where you
thank
can
you all for-
comment and discuss without
Yeah.
bothering to think about spoiling.
Yep.
That's why we created it.
Yep. And of course, thank you